week for the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for this week. The first guy, Pablo Lopez of the Minnesota Twins. So the first few starts of the season, Lopez was off to a great start, but now over the last couple starts, he's really fizzled out and not pitching good baseball in the season. 30 innings, 1-2 record, 39 strikeouts, a 3 ERA, a 1.03 whip, and 3 quality starts. But the last couple weeks here for Lopez, 10 innings pitched, 0-2 record, 13 strikeouts, a 6.30 ERA, 1.80 whip, and a quality start. So Lopez last season, we saw this also with the Miami Marlins, where he'll have some great games and it looks like he has unhittable stuff. And then some games he'll get pretty hit hard and have bad fantasy days and go in a few week slumps. So right now, while he's been struggling over the last couple weeks here, is Pablo Lopez. This is a perfect time to buy him low and get him in a deal. And he's got a good matchup coming up April 28th versus the Royals, where he definitely could get back on track and have a good ball game. So the last few outings here for him, April 11th versus the White Sox, 7 2/3, no decision, 3 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 10 strikeouts, a quality start. April 16th at the Yankees, 6 innings, got the loss, 7 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 7 Ks, a quality start. And then April 22nd versus one of the weakest hitting teams in the league, the Nationals, 4 innings, got the loss, 8 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. So right now, Lopez, after a couple mediocre and a bad outing mixed in there, while he's down his numbers over the last few weeks and the ERA's ballooned up, this is a perfect time to go out there and get him, because that AL Central, not many great hitting teams over there with the White Sox, Kansas City Royals, Guardians, middle of the pack hitting team. And I think Lopez, once he gets more adjusted a little bit to the American League, pitching obviously more versus American League teams than National League teams, even though you verse every team this season, I think he could get things going and could be a guy that could be a top 3 or 4 starter in your rotation and get him on a little bit of a discount this week. The next pitcher is Julio Urias of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So just like Lopez, Urias got off to a nice start the first few starts of the season, but now he's fizzled out as well on the season. 27 innings, 3-2 record, 30 strikeouts, a 3.33 ERA, 1.22 whip, and 3 quality starts. But the last couple weeks for Urias, 9 innings, 0-2 record, 10 strikeouts, a 7 ERA, and a 2 whips. So far this season, it just seems like something's off with this Los Angeles Dodger team. Their lineup's not as potent and as strong as it was last season. After the first 4 or 5 at-batters in that lineup, a lot of question marks for that Dodger team. So the run support's not going to be there like it was last season, it looks like, for Urias and the Dodger pitching staff. And he's a guy that he's had some ups and downs throughout his career, where he'll go on lights out for a month or 2, and then a couple games where he fizzles out. But so far this season, 2 ball games he struggled in was both versus the Chicago Cubs, and the good news for him is the Dodgers don't verse him again this season, unless they meet him obviously in the playoffs. April 10th at the Giants, 6 innings, got the win, 4 hits, a run, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, a quality start. April 16th versus the Cubs, 5 2/3, got the loss, 8 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 6 Ks. And April 21st at the Cubs, 3 1/3, got the loss, 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. His outings this afternoon here at the Pittsburgh Pirates for Julio Urias. So I think he could get back on track versus the Pittsburgh Pirates, even though this Pirate team playing great baseball in the early going this season, 17-8. But Urias, he's got ace type of stuff. He's been a good fantasy option over the last few seasons, and right now, while he's in a little bit of a tailspin, where I think the Cubs just having his number, where he could turn things around, and he's struggling a little bit, this is a time to trade for him this week and buy him. The next guy is Justin Verlander of the New York Mets. So Verlander, a monster offseason signing for the New York Mets. After DeGrom left in free agency to go to Texas, Verlander was the next man up and signed, and he was the replacement for DeGrom. And so far this season, he hasn't taken the mound, is Verlander. But it looks like sometime next week versus one of his former teams, the Detroit Tigers, he's going to make a season debut. So last season, winning the Cy Young with the Astros, 175 innings, 18-4 record, 185 strikeouts, 1.75 ERA, an 0.83 whip, and 21 quality starts. So what a season it was for Verlander after missing seasons with the Tommy John surgery. So now he'll make his Mets debut next week, like I mentioned, at the Detroit Tigers. And this Met team, they could use a boost right now. Now they've lost 4 games in a row, and 2 of them in a row to a horrible Washington National team. So if they could get Verlander on the mound and he could bring some energy to this ball club, that's what they're going to need. So right now, fantasy owners, They might not be happy that Verlander's been out the whole season. They might be skeptical, like I am. It's too, honestly, that he's 40 years old, coming off Tommy John a few seasons ago. And then this injury, which was only supposed to be a few weeks, he's been out the whole month of April, is Verlander. So right now, while there's question marks with Verlander, you could possibly get him on a little bit of a discount, even though some owners might ask for the premium, or some owners might not want to trade him and see what he could do in his Met debut. But right now, since he hasn't taken the mound this season, and he's still an unknown, this is a perfect time to go out there and get Verlander, in my opinion, because if he comes back and he's lights out for 2-3 starts in a row, there's no way you're going to get him on a discount and buy him low. The next guy is Nick Ladolo of the Cincinnati Reds. So Ladolo, we know he has electric stuff and ace-type stuff. He could be in the future. And so far this season, it hasn't been a good one for him. 25 2/3, 2-1 record, 37 strikeouts, a 6.31 ERA, 1.87 whip, and a quality start. So Ladolo, last season, he showed good signs towards the end of the season. And this year, he was going 6th, 7th round in most fantasy drafts. But right now, he hasn't lived up to the billing so far this season. I know he's on a Cincinnati Red team that's not going to get him a lot of run support, and they're not going to get him a lot of wins. But he's a guy with huge upside, and I know tough pitchers park as well for him in the bandbox over there in Cincinnati. But I think Ladolo could turn things around, and his next matchup is a nice one at Oakland, April 30th, where Oakland, we know, is one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in Major League Baseball. April 13th versus Philly, 5 innings, got the win, 8 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks in that one. April 18th versus Tampa Bay Rays, 4 2/3, got the loss, 12 hits, 8 runs, a walk, 4 Ks. He got racked up in that one. And then April 24th versus the Rangers, 4 innings in that game, 9 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. So right now, Ladolo, he's really struggled the last 2 outings here versus 2 solid hitting teams in Texas and Tampa, but still, it's not a good sign. In this season, he's only went more than 5 innings once. So right now, while he's not living up to his draft ADP is Ladolo, this is a perfect time for owners to go out there and get him, because I think he could turn things around. And like I said, he's got good stuff, but it's just not translating right now. But I think he could turn it around. And the 5th and final pitcher I look to buy and trade for this week is Drew Rasmussen of the Tampa Bay Rays. So Rasmussen last season was a great year for him, and so far this year, mixed bag of results. 27 innings, 3-2 record, 31 Ks, a 3.33 ERA, a 1.19 whip, and 2 quality starts for the last couple weeks here for Rasmussen. 14 innings, 1-2 record, 16 Ks, a 6.43 ERA, and a 2.07 whip. So we know the Rays right now are the best team in Major League Baseball in the very early going of the season. But Rasmussen, he's got good stuff. Last season, a 2.84 ERA, and he's going to be on a team that's going to give him run support and play good baseball. So the last few games here for Rasmussen, he's been hit hard in 2 out of 3 of them. April 14th at the Jays, 4 1/3, got the loss, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. April 19th at the Reds, an easy matchup, 5 innings, got the win, 3 hits, 3 walks, 7 Ks. But obviously he didn't go deep. And then April 25th versus Houston, 4 2/3, got the loss in that one, 9 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. So right now, Rasmussen, where he got off to a monster start the first 2 outings of the season for him, he struggled the last 2 out of 3, like I mentioned. So right now, while his numbers are down and he's been getting hit hard by Houston and Toronto, 2 great hitting teams, I think he could bounce back and could be a guy that can anchor your staff in fantasy baseball. So right now, it's time to take advantage of the 2 bad games in the last 3 outings for him and buy him low this week, because once he gets back on track, the value is going to bump back up and you would have to pay the premium price. That's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for here in week 4 of the fantasy baseball season.